What's going on, family? Welcome back to another video on the Life as Huncho YouTube channel. It's your host, Hugh Huncho, the one and only. And I got my main man in the back with me, Squirtle, today. See, if you a real G, if you a real P, then you know. You feel me? Squirtle's the best Pokemon, right? But we're going to go ahead and jump right into it, this episode, right? By the title, as you can see, no risk, no reward. And exactly what does that mean? Right, this is kind of like a continuation from the previous episode talking about how to stay focused and follow one main course until success, right? And the principle of definite of purpose. The reason why a lot of times people can't stay focused is because they haven't invested or took any kind of risk in what they really want to do or in the direction that they want to go. Somebody actually DM'd me and they said, "Hey, Hugh, amazing video, very insightful. They bought the book as well, right? So shout outs to you." However, they asked, how do I actually stay focused? How do I remain disciplined and consistent in what I'm doing? And then I asked them, what risks did you take so far? Like, what risk have you taken so far? And this actually perplexed them, right? This actually made them kind of a little confused because they're like, what do they mean by that? Right? The reason why most people can't stay consistent with something, or the reason why they don't put their whole heart into something, is because they haven't took enough risk, or they haven't invested into that endeavor or into that path or into that occupation that they really want to do, right? They don't see any need to take the risk because they don't believe in it anyway. But the moment you take that risk, the moment you take a small risk, that's when you see a small reward, and then you start gaining a little bit more confidence in taking more risk, right? Think about it like this. Why would I worry about getting my hair done and keeping myself up to par if I'm not gonna get no bitches anyway, right? If women aren't gonna like me anyway. So why would I do it? You see that way of thinking? Why should I clean for my man? Why should I make him meals if I don't believe or I don't think that I'm gonna get anything in reward from this behavior? You see what I'm saying? People aren't willing to take risks to see any kind of reward, and that's why they aren't being consistent or disciplined with what they do. That's why they can't follow one path or one main objective until they see the fruition of it, because they're not even willing to take the risk in the first place, right? But that's the thing. The moment you start taking a little bit of risk, and I'm not telling you to go out here and be crazy. I'm not telling you out here to just do, crazy risks, make bad investments. But think about it like this, right? Right? The moment you take that little small risk and you see a reward, then you're going to be more willing to take the next risk, right? The reason why some people don't invest is because there's no guarantee, there's no assurance that if they put this money into the stock market, that they're going to see a return on their investment, that they're going to see the fruits of their labor. So they're not willing to invest. They're afraid of investing. They'd rather spend the money on something else, right? And like I said, I'm not telling you to go out here and make crazy risks. You want to make calculated risk. You want to do smart risk. And there's a risk in everything we do at the end of the day. It's all risky. Jim Rohn said it's all risky. You can walk outside your house today. You're technically taking a risk because you're leaving the comfort and the confines of your house to be outside, right? God forbid, you don't know what might happen, but you take that risk every single day, right? Right? So that's why you got to start thinking about it. It's like, well, okay, if it's going to be risky anyway, so I might as well take risks that are actually going to bring me some reward. I might as well take risks that are going to propel me in the direction that I want to go to. You have to shift your way of thinking, right? Athletes, the reason why they get paid so much, the reason why they have so much money is because they had to take the risk to get themselves in that position. They had to spend the $400, right, for the entry fee to go to that AAU tournament, to be seen by prospects, to be seen by recruits, for them to get their name out there, for them to be on the big screen. Rappers, right? Rappers might be one of the people that take the most risk, especially early on in their career, for them to get to where they want to be at, whether they come from an environment where they had money or didn't have money and they had to accumulate money through other means and methods so they can purchase studio time, which is another risk, and then make an album, put an album out, put a song, put an EP out, which is another risk for them to see a reward. The reason why people aren't willing to put out content is because they think, oh, what's the point of me putting this content out if there's a risk that somebody might shame me, might ridicule me, or might not even watch it? But at the end of the day, if you never put out that video, if you never took that risk, you will never see any kind of reward. You would never know. You would literally go about your life not taking no risk, being very lackadaisical, being very calm, right? You could even say very neutral, and you're gonna live a life with no adventure. With life is a roller coaster. You might as well get on the best one, right? You might as well get on the best one. And at the end of the day, if you think about it, if you truly think about it, you want people around you anyway that are going to be more willing to take certain risk, because they're going to be more willing to believe in you when you take your risk. That's another thing. People don't have people around them that are going to propel them or push them in the direction, because these people themselves, they don't even take risk. They don't even believe in themselves enough to take the risk. But you have to ask yourself, what comes first, the belief or the risk? I think it doesn't matter. I think if you take the risk and you see a little bit of a reward, that's when you start building your belief. But what happens is that people take certain risk, they don't see the fruits of their labor, they don't see the reward, and then they think that they shouldn't take another risk. They get scared. They get complacent. And if you think about it, you've already took a risk in multiple different endeavors in your life. When you bought that video game, right, you might have watched maybe some videos about it, but you didn't really know if you were going to like it. You didn't really know if you was going to enjoy it, but you spent that $60 though, and you bought it and you found out, right? You didn't know if this lady or this girl was going to like you, but you messaged her, you went up and talked to her, and now boom, look, now you're in a relationship, right? That's why some people aren't willing to do certain things in relationships. It's because they don't think that there's going to be any reward there. But you won't ever know until you take that risk. You won't know the feeling, what it's like to make a woman feel good just doing something simple as getting her flowers, because you never did it before. You don't know what it's like to have a guy really fall in love with you just because you did something like rub his back, because you never did it before. Of course, you're never going to see any rewards if you're not willing to take a risk, right? It's a risk when you purchase equipment to record videos, right? Right? But that's the thing. When you take that risk, you're going to be more willing to stay focused and stay consistent on that path, because you know, hey, I'm already in it. I already spent a lot of money on it, so I might as well keep going. You might as well keep going. I spent money on the camera equipment. I spent money on the audio equipment. I might as well record a video. I might as well be consistent with it. And then that's why once you start seeing those little risks, that's why you start seeing little rewards. And then you're going to be more willing, more capable, and more confident to take more risk. Competence comes from confidence, and confidence only comes through achievement. But you will never achieve anything. You will never get any reward in anything if you're not willing to take that risk and bet on yourself. That's what you're doing when you take certain risks. When you take calculated risk, you're betting on yourself. Right? Some people, they're not willing to invest into their business because they didn't even invest into themselves. That's the smallest risk that you can take, is investing in yourself, buying that book, right? This is how I know somebody won't be fully consistent or fully committed in going to the gym if they don't have a gym membership. If they're just going with their friends, you know what I'm saying, or going when they can, or doing three-day free passes, right? That's how I know it's going to be a very hard time for them to develop that consistency and for them to really develop that focus. Is because they didn't even take the risk in purchasing the gym membership, which is probably $10. But you notice the moment you take that risk, that's why you're going to start feeling a little bit more compelled to keep showing up at the gym. When you start seeing that $10, $15, $25 keep hitting your bank account every single month, then you start saying to yourself, like, dang, I'm paying for it. I might as well go use it. I might as well go. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you got to start thinking about things in life. You got to start looking at the positive situations. You got to start looking at the silver lining in situation. Winners always believe that there is a point in doing something. Losers believe, what is the point in doing something? You see what I'm saying? You see how different that is, that way of thinking? And what is going to bring you the most results? What's going to bring you more fruits, right, to your table when it's time to harvest? Which way you're thinking, right? So that's why it's important to stay focused on the path that you are going, but be ready to take those risks when they come across your path, because those risks are probably there to kind of push you, right? And I'm not, like I said, I'm not telling you to go out here and start making big investments, start taking crazy risks, because at the end of the day, that's probably not the best option. That's probably not the healthiest thing to do. But you got to start be willing to take little small risks bit by bit, until this really big risk, it seems like nothing. CEOs, athletes, rappers, right, businessmen, you see they're always taking risks. LeBron James, he took a risk when he left the Heat and he went to the Cavaliers, went back to the Cavaliers. But you see the reward. He was able to win a championship there, right? Put his city on the map, right? That was a risk, but you see how it paid off. Like I said, you've already taken risk in your life. Just start taking more calculative and more strategic risk, and you're going to start seeing the fruits of your labor, and you're going to be more willing to take another risk, right? Even when it comes to investing, I'm not telling you to go out and go buy one whole share, one whole stock, right, of Apple, of Nvidia, especially if you never invested before, especially if you don't really know too much how to invest. But how about you start with just investing $10 a week consistently, $15 a week consistently, putting some money aside, right, $5 a day consistently. Start building up a savings account. Then boom, then you can start building up your investment account, right? That's how you have to start thinking about things, because you will never see any rewards if you're not willing to take those risks. And if you don't see those small wins, then of course it's going to be hard to stay focused and stay consistent on one path. Some people, they be consistent and they stay on one path for years until they see any rewards. But some of y'all not even willing to buy a book, invest in yourself to learn some knowledge, to learn some game, buy an ebook, sign up for an Audible subscription, something like that. That's a small risk, right? Getting an app that helps you learn instead of an app that distracts you. That's why people are more willing to buy the things that they know for a fact that they probably shouldn't buy, because there's no risk there. They already know what they're going to get when they go to the supermarket. They already know what they're going to go when they go to this shop or whatever the case may be. But you'll never know what's on the other side of the coin unless you flip it. Unless you try something new. Unless you try something different. See what I'm saying? If you think about it, babies, they take the most risk, right? Babies, freshly out the womb. You don't see a baby come out the womb and then they just start running around the house. They start riding bikes. You don't see a baby do that. What does a baby do? A baby leaves the womb, and what do? They start crawling first, right? After they start crawling, then they start, trying to get themselves up, trying to walk a little bit. Then they take 1, 2, 3 steps. Even if they stumble, even if they fall, what do? They get up and they try again. So if a baby's willing to take a risk to learn how to walk, you got to be willing to take a risk in yourself to get to where you want to be at. And the funny thing about it is that with a baby, you can see their determination and you can see how happy they are once they actually learn how to walk. They start running around the house crazy. You can't get them to stop. That's how life is. That's how life is. Life is an adventure. And there's no adventure, right, with some kind of risk, with some kind of challenge, with some kind of decision that might be tough to do. But you'll never know until you're willing to take that risk and bet on yourself, right? So with that being said, right, until the next episode, it's your host, Hugh Huncho, the one and only, and I'm out.